So several people have asked me about my little travel palette that I made out of a tin. And this is a tin of licorice from Italy, but you can get the exact same size and shape on Amazon. I think they're called hinged metal tins. And this is how I went about it. And since I want to make a new one anyways, last time I was in Italy, I bought several. And of course you need to empty it. It's probably a good idea to wash it. I'm just going to wipe it with a... And then what I bought is these little empty palette. And again, you can get these at any art supply. I got them at Amazon, I think. So I tested one to see whether it works, and it does. So I bought these teeny tiny magnets because this one I bought little palette cups with magnets, but see, they separated. And so I'm thinking that hopefully mine will be sturdier. We'll find out soon enough. So I use this All-American super glue. And so I have one. This one's already done. This one's already done. Oh, I see. So this is the one that I bought. It's nice because it's thinner, but if the glue is no good, then if it's not waterproof, then it's not gonna work. So I take the little palettes, and let's try and do this in a systematic way. And take my glue, put a little, doesn't really matter the beauty of it or precision because no one's going to see it. And then with these tiny but strong magnets that I'm having a hard time separating from, whoa! I just drop one on each. Whoa! This is fun. I guess my systematic approach is not going to work. The fact that the magnets are strong is good though. So I'm going to make one and then put it as far as possible from the others. And I have 5 because I've already made one. These guys are strong. Hopefully the glue is also strong. All right. So I have my tin where I will put these when they're dry. And since this is going to be a palette that I'm going to use for this Vermont spring, I picked colors that I thought would go well. But before putting the colors in the little palettes, I'm going to let this dry. So now that these are dry, I'm going to fill each, well, not really fill because I tend to make a mess with palettes, so I like to refill them and clean them regularly. So I'm just going to put a little bit. And this is Quinacridone Burnt Orange. I'm going to put it here. And then this is Golden Ochre. And I'm going to put it here. This, not like many caps, this one has seen better days, even though it's not that old. A classic, Ultramarine Blue. Daniel Smith makes the absolute best. I would say that most of my colors are Daniel Smith, but then just like this one is M. Graham. I bought it, it was part of a set on sale. So it's M. Graham. It's wonderful watercolors, but it's not my favorite. Mostly because they spread a lot more than necessary. This is Cobalt Teal, though their Cobalt Teal is probably the nicest Cobalt Teal to be had. Then for a cool yellow, I put the Hansa yellow medium. And then for the only true red, it's a permanent Carmine by Winsor and Newton. So in a way, this palette could be called the split primary because you have 3 warm colors, ultramarine blue, golden ochre, and quinacridone burnt orange, and you have 3 cool colors, cobalt teal, Hansa yellow, and permanent carmine. I'm going to put a little bit more of the permanent carmine because it's likely color I'll use a lot. But it's not a traditional split complementary palette. So it's really nice to travel with something this small because you can easily hold it in one hand. And what I would do is I would put a napkin here. So when it's time to paint, I have a sheet here where I've already put the names of the paints. But when it's time to paint, what I usually do is I carry these teeny tiny spritzer, and I spritz. It's not necessarily now because I just squeezed it out. And then I have these travel brushes that have water inside. And so, for example, for the permanent carmine, I don't want to cover. All right. I could do this. And then I would clean the brush here. Shouldn't have started with the most staining color. Then the golden ochre. The Hansa yellow medium. The Quinacridone burnt orange. Normally I would have the sketchbook in my lap, and it's a lot easier that way. The Cobalt Teal. And the Ultramarine Blue. And these are all colors that I think will allow me to express the colors of a Vermont spring. Some mixing would be necessary, of course, because there's no green, for example, but green's very easy to get with several of these colors, actually. If I take the yellow, put a little bit of yellow here and a little bit of yellow here, and then a little bit of cobalt teal makes a nice light yellow, and a tiny bit of ultramarine makes a darker green. Sorry, I meant green before too. So also, let's say I want to do an orange. The most obvious solution would be, well, the problem is this red is very strong, so you need a lot more yellow than I put. And that's how you have an orange. Unless you want a more earthy orange, then you can just the quinacridone. But the quinacridone burnt orange would be good for wood type paint. It's a brown, really. It's a bright brown, similar to burnt sienna. But those are probably the two most common mixes I would do. Another one I might do if necessary. That's not one of my favorite colors, but I might need a purple of sorts for, say, flowers. Again, these are powerful colors, and I'm using too much, but here we go. Right? So this is a fun palette. Next step, I'm going to make myself a tiny sketchbook with this Arches paper, and then I'm ready to go. But the weather has to get a little better because it's still too cold to paint outside today. They're forecasting a high of 37. Thank you.